Hey everyone. Hold on. Hi Leo. Alright, I thought you might enjoy. Can you see it? The sun. It's rising. What do we got here? What you want, what you need. It's helping, hindering, overall, and overarching. To be perfectly honest, I just woke up. I could have slept longer. Healing is very, sleeping is very healing, you know that. Alright, anyone new to Opal Oracle, welcome. And anyone returning, hi there, Leo. Alright, let's see what you got for cards. What you want. Knight of Swords. What you need. Chariot. A lot of movement, huh? What's helping you? Two. Tendering you. Death. What's the overall outcome for this time? Ten of Pentacles. Good. And the overarching energy is the Magician. I also chose an additional card for everyone during this time frame from the Mary L. Tarot. Just to sort of represent, to represent, see, the sun's pretty, but sometimes it's so blinding, right? Something's like too much. Can't see something clearly. You're looking into the eye of the sun. What song is that? Anyway, Five of Wands is what you receive. This is from the Mary L. Tarot. Obviously, this deck to me is a lot different. Obviously, there's some similarities, but this is a lion. That's you. I'm gonna pull a card every time frame, and just to see how we're going through this Venus transit, because Venus is important, okay? Venus can be the morning star or the evening star. Some people praise the morning star, some people praise the evening star. It's important to know which one you praise. Okay? It's going right towards this Magician. See that? It like wants, I see that you want to get out of the darkness. Someone wants to get out of the darkness of something and get into the light, go into the light. Okay? Now, just a second, let me tune in. I know, 3 minutes in, I just woke up. What are you going to do? Need coffee, hold on. It's interesting I chose to do it during this time. I feel like, you know when someone just wakes up, like the way people wake up, everyone wakes up differently, right? Everyone starts to function. It's cold here, actually. I miss the snow, but anyway, everyone wakes up at a different time. Everyone wakes up in a different way. Everyone has a certain, like, time frame, right, before they are ready to do something. You know, some people, like my sister and I, for example, we're the kind of folks that we need a cup of coffee and, you know, maybe like 15 minutes of no talking before the day begins. Not everyone's like that, right? So I guess it's a little bit about understanding the differences in that during this time, okay? Also, like, what are your sleep patterns? What are you doing before you go to bed? Because that really affects how you sleep and therefore like how much energy and how able you are to wake up. Well, I see what you want is to like help someone do something. You know, you want to feel good and ready and able and capable to move forward with something. But what you want and what you need, this is going towards the past. This is what you want, this is what you need. Okay? So it's like what you want is also to sort of, I heard, save yourself from the past. You also want to clear something out from the past. Okay? Like, go in, I'm seeing this guy like go in and just charge forth and cut it as things into little pieces so that there's nothing in the way. It's like you want to clear the way about something so that you can move, so that you can get what it is that you need and move forward. Something's done and that bothers you. Like something, I feel like in a way for a lot of you Leos, it's something about like, because you're the sun, right? You come up every morning. Every morning there's something about it. There's always life with you, right? But there's something about a cycle that's helping you. I see. This is confusing. I really feel like these two could be switched. Okay, so there's this technicality here, right? Like, oh, this is what you know, because in tarot, sure, you can have a spread, and it's very important to be able to read it that way, but then we have to understand that it's a human construct to come up with a definition for things, right? Like, maybe to certain humans, they would be like, oh, well, you're awake. Why aren't you just getting up and doing all the things now? Which can also, awake can just be like a comprehension of understanding, right? Like, oh, I understand, now I do it. But sometimes it takes folks a lot longer to understand something before they start doing it physically. Ah, I switched them around. I knew it. I knew they were in the wrong space. Because that's the point, is like, the definitions of something need to sort of be turned around. And I sense that that's a little bit challenging. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, something's come to a close, right? Something's come to a position where whatever the changes are from now until November, the end of October, if you will, for some of you, of course, these cards will last longer, especially Death and the Chariot, Magician. We have 3 major arcana here. These can last longer, specifically the Death card. That isn't something that you get in your reading and then all of a sudden you figure it out tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. So, I heard, how patient are you? Now, the universe, I sense, is like pushing, God is kind of like pushing you a little bit, you know? It's like, okay, Leo, are you really, don't try to, I heard, don't try to do what you usually do. Whatever that means. The thing that interferes with where it is that you actually need to go, because this is your head talking, you know, but this, what you need is for your head and your heart to have a better conversation together, okay? This means friendship in American Sign Language. Every sign language is different, but there needs to be a connection. You need to be better, your head and your heart need to be better friends, okay? And really what you need to be asking during this time is your heart, like how you feel about something. It's not about the technicality. I heard it's not about the technicality or the technical definitions or placements within things. There's something about that, like, because all these cards are like, this means this, and this means that, and da-da-da-da-da. But every single season, the sun doesn't come up. The sun, depending on the season, right? The sun shows itself in a different place in the sky. It actually, there's a reason why we have the sun and the moon, is so that we can understand what season it is. You know, when I heard, are you paying attention? Do you know, like, where the sun rises in autumn? Do you know where the sun rises in spring? Are you paying attention to that? Are you aware of that? If the computer went away and the farmer's almanac and whatever, this external information, like, are you aware and ready? You know, what does your heart say? I do see you looping a little bit and not being sure about what you're supposed to do. And if you're curious about what that is, what you're supposed to do is to continue to work on what you're working on. Continue to work on what you're changing about yourself and the direction. Like, you need to keep focus on the future, right? The person that decides that they can go into okay, so before this is the Lover's card. You decide. You know that whatever that decision is, once you make it, ultimately, then that's the end of the story and there is no turning back, right? And in one way I see that helps you, and in another way I see that hinders you a little bit, because, again, I feel like some Leos don't really like the end of something. It bothers you a little bit because you want it to be the same. You're fixed, right? You want that energy to be the same. You want that placement to be the same. But sometimes things need to be rearranged to be able to get out of the cycles that you're in. And, you know, part of this also is keeping focus, like, because you see here, there's only one person driving this chariot. It's you. Nobody else is driving this chariot. And the only way that you succeed and get to the 8, which is your card, the Strength card, you have to not be distracted to get off the road. Okay, you can't be distracted by little things. Be like, oh, I'm in the chariot, and then like, oh, look at this thing over here. Like, no, what's the focus? Because obviously you want to end up at a place that's really stable and solid and abundant and safe, right? I heard the next 5 to 8 weeks, for a lot of you, something. Not sure what that means. I think the first 5, which I guess would be probably around November 8th, there's a lot happening November 8th. I'll try to post something below. It was so much information astrologically that I couldn't even grasp it all. But until that time, there's a little bit about Well, what do you want, Leo? Your I want, or I desire. Well, Scorpio's I desire. It's pretty bird, isn't it? The overarching energy, okay, you have a lot of major arcana here. Again, you got to pay attention to what you're thinking about, especially in relation to the Venus retrograde, and everyone's been kind of receiving this. Mercury's in Scorpio, Venus is in Scorpio, in retrograde. There's a lot of, like, you got to pay attention to what you're talking about, how you're communicating with folks. You also can't manifest what it is that you really want when the Five of Wands is happening, okay? Regardless of this being a little bit different, it's still the Five of Wands. You want to, like, this line is like, I'm just going to become the magician right now. It's like, you can't jump from the Five of Wands to the magician. You have to go from the 5 to the 6. And then be settled in yourself, and then go into the magician. Now, you can use this magician to get out of the Five of Wands if you want to. How do you want to think about it? Like, if you're stressed out by something or having difficult conversations, I do see that you want to hurry. You want to hurry about something, but what, you're going to hurry up until the sun to rise? No. See, I think that's the thing, is like, sometimes, because innately, because you're ruled by the sun, you know that there's a process, there's a natural process to things. But I think sometimes you wish the sun would rise a little bit faster or set a little bit faster. But it's not the way that works. So I guess I heard, what's your rush? And I also see again that you need to keep focus on what you are working towards. Okay? In your home, with your money, with the people that you consider family. Okay? I also see that during this time frame, specifically with this Venus transit, anybody that you are having an argument with, you can resolve that, okay? If you want to. But again, people only wake up when they wake up. So, to end this, we're going to choose from The Warrior of Light by Mr. Paulo, the same gentleman who wrote The Alchemist. Let's see, Leo. This one. It says, according to a poet, the warrior of light chooses his enemies. He knows what he is capable of. He does not have to go about the world boasting of his qualities and virtues. Nonetheless, there is always someone who wants to prove himself better than he is. For the warrior, there is no better and there is no worse. Everyone has the necessary gifts for their particular path. But certain people insist. They provoke and offend and do everything they can to irritate him. At that point, his heart says, do not respond to these insults. They will not increase your abilities. You will tire yourself needlessly. A warrior of light does not waste his time listening to provocations. I feel like it's like provocations. I guess it depends where you put your syllables and who taught you that anyway. Provocations. He does not waste his time listening to provocations. He has a destiny to fulfill. You know, even that little word, right? Like, I have Saturn in the 3rd house. It's just going to happen like this. It's the way it is. But the point is that you know, we could, because this little tiny mistake, if you will, or energy started to get put into this little tiny thing, we forgot about the fact that there is no better or worse. And everyone has the necessary gifts for their particular path. But I guess certain people insist. And with this they provoke and offend and do everything to irritate him. I see that it's important for that not to happen, and you to not do that to other people. You know, this can also be insults that you give to yourself, or like poking that you do it yourself. Because I sense that is something that you do to you, but you don't necessarily, it's an internal process, right? Not that you don't think you can succeed, because I think most Leos are like, yeah, I can do anything. Even if you're in a tough spot, you think you can do anything. And that's good. That's a good thing to have. But no need to provoke that part. Right? You know, this Venus retrograde too, for a lot of folks, is going to be like, oh, who did I used to love? You know, because Venus doesn't have to be your lovers. It's just people that you connect with. People that you used to love. People that made you sad that you don't have in your life anymore. How do you feel about that? Where are they now? Right? Yeah, this just came out. How do you feel about it? And are you ready to accept the fact that it happened that way because it was supposed to happen that way? Even you being where you are now. And realizing that no matter how much you want, or how much you want to be in charge of what you rule in your life, we talked about this before, only you make the rules for you. You're not actually a queen or a king. And even if you were, that's a made-up construct that authority in that way can tell people what it is that they're supposed to do with their lives. You know? Not saying rules aren't important. There's basic fundamental rules, but there's something about, well, hold those rules for yourself and then let other people do what they need to do. Because you can't, again, rush anybody to wake up and understand and be able to function in the way that you want them to. And if it's been going on so long and you're like, oh, if I stick around long, I heard if I stick around long enough, then it'll change. If we're talking about other people, I want you to be very aware that that is a losing battle. Okay? It's a waste of your time. Don't waste your precious energy, right? You know, I kind of wish that we had, man, I miss my Leo friends. It's so easy to talk to you. You know, think about it. Like, if we didn't have electricity, right? We only had the sun. Because we don't see that well at nighttime. If we got back into the natural cycles of things, well, you'd probably be a lot more productive during the day. Right? Probably sleep better at night. So, I guess for some of you, that really is important. Understanding the natural cycles of things, okay? To help you have a better grasp on like what really is in front of you and what you're trying to achieve, and something about patience too. Again, can't hurry up the sun to rise. All right, love you. Take care. Peace.